We're going live. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Hello, ladies. Hello. How is everyone doing today? We are live here. This is Tuesday with Taylor, and I have an incredible guest here today. I can't wait to introduce you. So as you're coming on, let us know you're here.
Hey, everybody.
And so we are live here on, we're actually on 3 different platforms. We're coming live to you. This is the She Network, where we're sharing her excellence network. But I have a really special guest here today. So I'm definitely going all out. I want everybody to be able to partake of this amazing information. And so since we are on this platform, so this is what it looks like. Unless you give StreamYard permission to use your name, this is what it looks like. All we see is Facebook user. So go up in the profile there and just says allow access to show your name. So you can be seen just like this. Leslie,
yes.
How are you? How is everyone? All right. So if this is your first time on, let us know you're here. We want to know that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, she went away, and I'm hoping that she comes right back on. So I have a special guest here, and I don't know what happened. She's going to be coming on. She is an amazing pastor. I had the opportunity to get to meet her just a couple of months ago. And okay, so if you're trying to access there, go up into the body of the message, and it says a StreamYard, and just click that link. Click that link right there, and it'll allow you to come in and come on. And here she is.
Look, I'm ADHD with a lot of H. I was like, where's the comment?
I'm like, okay, she'll be back. She'll be back.
Sorry, everybody. Y'all know I listen. I'm all over the place.
I love it. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Kimbo. Welcome, welcome. So, okay, so I'm going to, without further ado, we're going to kick this off here. So I had the amazing opportunity to, I got to speak on the stage of my beautiful friends, I should say, Ryan Higgins and Angel Fletcher. And Larry and I spoke on their stage. This was at the resolution event in January in Biloxi, Mississippi. And Larry and I had the privilege and honor to get to meet this young lady. And I've been following ever since. So she is a powerhouse rock star, like rock star. And especially since we've been here, sequestered, quarantined.
Gosh.
I've been watching her and watching what we partaking, right, of all of the goodness. So how are you, Miss Kim?
Man, I am so excited to be with you.
Well, whenever Larry was like, Larry just loved, Larry, my husband, love, like totally just fell in love with you. And so we've been watching you live. You know, you go live at 5 o'clock here in Texas time, 6 o'clock your time with your church, and doing a live streaming event where we're taking a communion, right?
Yes.
And just really I mean, it's so inspiring, so encouraging. And so I wanted to, you know, I thought that the message or the time of this message was right on the money. And I wanted to have you in and really kind of come in and share your story and let people hear your story and hear what's up and hear a word of encouragement. So I'm so happy you're here. Welcome.
Man, I'm so honored to be here. And I fell in love with all of y'all at True Vision. Like, yeah. I've never heard of True Vision, and now I take True Vision. So that's probably why I'm all over the place. Because I got lots of energy.
I love it. I love it. Well, so tell us, I mean, like, you know, whenever we do interviews here in the She Network, you know, it's really about sharing her excellence because everybody has a story. And sometimes whenever you become, I mean, because you have an amazing platform, you have a lot of followers, even outside your church platform. And so I know that there's a reason for that, but that didn't happen overnight.
No.
That happened without some tears on the pillow, right?
Yeah.
Some late night, you know, what Larry and I call the midnight hour, tears on the pillow, you know, the midnight hour. And we call it, you know, the where one day is ending, but another day's beginning, right?
those times we hate.
Yeah. So take us through your journey. You know, tell us about how you got here, and tell us about the magic.
Well, I was raised in a United Pentecostal. So my dad was a preacher, and basically was raised in this religion that basically said women were just good for popping out babies and cooking supper. And I just watched as I was growing up. I noticed that, man, I just felt fearless. I felt I was in special ed my whole life, but I thought like I had a way of changing things in my head to make me think that it was like special VIP when really it was special ed.
Special
So
ed, were you in special classes?
yes, I was like, I had a whole parapro eating lunch with me. Like I was in special classes.
Wow.
And so that started. I really believe, and I tell people this all the time, when you've been fought your whole life, like you've just been fought, you just make stupid decisions, you make storms, you marry the wrong people, you just feel like you've always been fought your whole life. It's because there's something so spectacular on the inside of you, and the enemy knows that one day you're going to get it together, and you're going to be a whole force to be reckoned with, because you're going to get it together. It's taking you a little bit longer.
Yes.
But I was raised in this United Pentecostal, and raised that if you get a divorce, you're going to hell on a slip and slide. I thought God was so mean. My mom would pray, and she would pray, she'd cry, and I'd be like, man, God, you are so mean. My mom has to beg you to get anything. And so I just was raised just kind of angry. I was just very bitter and very angry. And probably about 17 years old, I just had a struggle my whole life. I struggled in school. I don't know how I graduated. Like I just learned, I got street smarts, and realized, let me just figure this out. And so I don't know how I graduated, but I did. And just tried to escape the religion through getting married. And so I got married at 17, 18 years old, and ended up going to Peak Nayarit, Mexico, because I married a missionary kid. And I'm thinking, I'm about to be a missionary. I'm going to be a whole pastor's wife. And I'm going to go to Peak Nayarit, Mexico. And so I end up moving to Peak Nayarit, Mexico. And
I've never even heard of that place.
It's 18 hours after the border. So like our floors were dirt, and I was a Estee Lauder makeup artist going to live on dirt. Well, we lasted like 4 months, 6 months. We didn't last very long. And I got kicked back.
A match made in heaven with you, girl. No.
Hey, I got kicked back to my parents' house. And then I ended up, they carted me off to Bible school. And so I go to Bible school, fall in love with the piano boy, end up marrying him. Man, listen, I am the queen. I was the queen of crazy decisions. I wasn't scared of anything. And I just never looked, and I never thought of the future. I was always one of those that just lived now. And so I ended up getting married, and I remember, like, I was at World Harvest Bible School with Pastor Rod Parsley, and Pastor Rod Parsley was like, I will not endorse this marriage, because I was standing on his platform singing in his 7,000 member church. And here I am.
I love Rod Parsley, by the way.
Listen, girl. So he's telling me, I will not bless this. You're going to move in with my mother, Mama Parsley, and we're going to watch you because you're making terrible decisions. You just jumped out of the fire into the frying pan. In the middle of the night, I pack my Yugo and I go marry the boy. So listen, I'm giving somebody hope today. It don't matter what you did. You can still get up. And so I ended up marrying him for 17 years. We were in ministry together, praise and worship leaders, had 2 beautiful boys. I loved his guts. And something happened, man, at about probably year 13, 14, he just fell into depression and couldn't get out. And that's when everything shifted. I started finding out that I had gifts and talents. I decided that I was going to become an interior designer. Never did interior design in my life, but somebody had to make some money for our family. Yeah. And so I opened an interior design company, and that thing banked. I told people I could make drapes and they believed me. And so I did. So I went, got me some designers and we started an interior design company. I did that for what, 9 years. Bang.
Okay, so like I love this. First of all, so let's because there's a couple of rabbit holes I'd like to rabbit trail here because I
don't tell a lot of this. I don't even know why I told the first one. He didn't even count. It doesn't count if you get married at 18 years old.
But here's the thing, like, to your point, like this may be the message somebody needs to hear because, so many times, whenever we make bad choices or bad decisions, we think, God doesn't have a plan A or plan B or plan C, that we totally messed it up and there's no hope, right? That's such a lie that we tell ourselves.
Oh yeah. And society.
Yeah. And so we start buying into and believing that, so you may be really ministering to somebody right now that needs to hear just that thing, but now this other marriage, let's talk about that. I mean, like how do you navigate this marriage? And then you've got somebody that they turn into the person that you didn't marry, right? And how do you navigate through those places whenever you've partnered with somebody and they're not who they were when you married them, right? I mean, and that can happen with anybody. How did you navigate through that?
Well, that seems to keep happening to me. I think that I'm just a lot, I think that I just had to look at it like, I remember I had to move back in with my mom and daddy at 36 years old and with two little boys that were 7 years old and 9 years old. And their dad had completely became a raging alcoholic. Like this great guy, this guy that looked like he just stepped off of the GQ magazine, looks just like my son's. All of a sudden he has completely went into this person. I don't even know who he is. Like he looks like a homeless man. He leaves our house for 2-3 weeks and just binges. And I'm over here trying to cover, and protect it because I'm thinking he's going to come out of this. Like he's going to get it together. He's going to come out of this. And I don't want people to know him this way.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, like, so that speaks to a lot of women because so no matter what, I mean, like I was in a relationship with an abuser, right? But I didn't want anybody to see that. And because we don't want people to see behind the curtain.
Right?
So we're really great at putting on the facade and on the mask of life is perfect. Whenever people don't know what's happening behind closed doors, right?
Sad, really. It really is sad because you end up fighting this battle by yourself. Yeah. And so that's what ended up happening to me. I ended up finding myself, he every time he would get drunk, he would hit on me. And one night, I'll never forget, my mama calls me, and I'm from ministry. I've already had one, right? So here I am staring at another, like this dude's a raging alcoholic, and I freaking love him with everything on the inside of me. And this thing ain't getting better. And I remember my mother calls me one night and she says, Kim, and we were very known in the church world as praise and worship leaders. We were Barbie and Ken. And how can Barbie and Ken be falling apart? And I've got these two little boys that look like they stepped out of the Gap magazine, but yet people didn't see the holes in my houses and the lamps that are thrown in my walls, and the kids, their lullabies every night is screaming and hollering, and me trying to get him in bed. And see, you can't tell these kind of things because people judge you for that, right? I remember one night my mama calls me and she says, Kim, God has just woke me up and wants me to ask you a question. Are you wanting to be in this in 20 years? Do you like your life? Because this is the way it's going to be in 20 years. Yeah. And I said, Lord, I rebuke you. And I hung up on her. And literally 2 years later, I stayed for another 2 years. And I remember one night, he had gotten crazy drunk and I said something wrong to him, and we were just terrible for each other. I mean, we were just terrible. Two broken people, just terrible. We were just not good together. We were just toxic people together. And one night, I mean, I literally found myself with a pillow over my head, and I thought, man, I'm not going to get out of this alive. And my kids are going to end up being mother and fatherless because he's going to go to jail and I'm going to die. And that was when I had a wake up moment. That's when I was sitting there and I literally screamed out to God because I'd backslidden. I wasn't in church. I hadn't been in church in probably 10 years, and just living the life of just everything Pastor Rod had told me was going to happen is happening. And I'm running from God because of it. And,
I mean, let's stop right there for just a minute too, because I mean, don't you find that, because of shame, and we're like, oh my God, like, how can I face this again? Like the I told you so's, or, and especially the judgment that comes from people, not intentionally, but it's what happens. And so that's the fear that we have. And we stay in. And here's the thing, no matter what, no matter how you wanted to save him and save your marriage.
Oh yeah.
It takes two, no matter what.
I've learned that in my life.
It takes two, no matter how much you want to fight for it. It's like, we talk to distributors, right? I deal in the network marketing space, right? You talk to distributors and people in business, like, you can't want it for them.
You can't.
You can't, they have to have their own desire, and they're
absolutely
in the game, and you can't take responsibility for someone else, right? So, as somebody that's walked in an abusive relationship, and whenever you came to that point, did you just feel like?
I had my oh hell no moment.
Yeah.
And this is what I tell the world now. Until you have your oh hell no moment, you will stay a punching bag. You will continue their bad behavior. You will keep enabling them. You will stay broken. Mm-hmm. You will, until I literally got to a place, I moved back in with my mom and daddy. I started getting my life back together, laid in a bed for probably 8 months depressed because God didn't heal this very dysfunctional relationship. And finally, one day, I remember God told me, he was like, Kim, I can't heal this. You got to get up and walk away from it. Like I got, for the first time in my life, I understood nothing changes until I change. Yeah. I'm not going to live again until I get up out of this bed of depression. I'm not going to get my life back until I stop concentrating on what I've lost. Yeah. I'm not going to heal until I stop stalking him on Facebook. I'm not going to heal until I start seeing that God says in Ephesians 3:20, he's going to do exceedingly abundantly more than I ever ask or think. He says in Romans 8:28, he's working all things together for my good. Even if I did it, even if I was out of order, even if I went against what the world, my accountability was telling me, he still knew I was going to be here. Yeah. And he says, I've given you the grace to get through this, but you got to move your feet. You got to want it more than anything in this world. You got to be sick and tired of being depressed. You got to be sick and tired of crying over the same crap. And get up. And that's when I did. I laid in that bed at my mom and daddy's. I moved back in with my mom and daddy. My kids grieved. I grieved. I sat in a bed, cried for 8 months, got fat as I'll get out on ho-hos, just angry at God until I had that oh hell no moment.
But that piece right there, Jim Rohn, I don't know if you're familiar with Jim Rohn, but this phrase that he uses, for things to change, you got to change.
You got to change.
For things to get better, you have to get better, because you can only control you in that scenario.
Period.
That's it. Right?
You can't fix them.
Yeah.
And this is why I think we go through life, sis, so broken, because we don't know how to take an apology that we'll never get. Yeah. If you are in a relationship with a sociopath or narcissistic person, you're not going to get a probably I'm sorry for them. And so you got to stop trying to wrap your head around why it didn't work and just be okay with it just didn't work. Yeah. And it doesn't mean your life is over. It means that you made it. You have made it, and you're coming out with some free life college. You got some passion on you now. When you open your mouth and talk, people go listen. Yeah. Just because you can tell the difference between somebody walking through something and somebody just learning something.
Yes.
And you got to get up.
I mean, like what is, I think about the scripture whenever, he said, when Jesus asked the man, by the pool, he's like, pick up your mat, let's go. It's like he's asking, do you want to be healed? Like, just pick up your mat, let's go. So you have to get up, right?
And anytime there's ever a miracle in the Bible, it always was an action before the miracle took place. This is why the enemy gets you so wore out that you can't even move. This is why heartbreak makes you depressed. This is why bankruptcy makes you want to lay in bed. This is why unforgiveness causes lupus, fibromyalgia, all these sicknesses in your body, because you won't let go of unforgiveness. So that's where the enemy gets you, because you won't let go.
Yesterday we were just having this conversation about not having inner healing, and things are happening. You can't bury live emotions, because that's what causes dis-ease in your body.
Period.
It's so true. You have to get it out. You can't bury live emotions.
And it's a choice. Forgiveness is not an emotion. Forgiveness is a choice. It's every day you are realizing that you are a whole grown up.
Yes.
And that anybody that walked out of your life does not belong in your future. And just because they walked out doesn't mean that your life ended. It just means that their part of your story is over. So you gotta forgive, block them, delete them, stop talking about them, and get your whole life back.
Yeah, everybody wants to talk about the mountain, right? They want to talk about how big the mountain is, right?
They do.
They want to talk about the problem and not the solution. They want to focus on what's in front of them instead, or this.
I don't get it. Yeah.
You know what?
You know what it is? I think we get comfortably broken. I think we like the attention that broken gets us.
Ooh, comfortably broken. That's very profound. We want to have the victim kind of mentality.
Oh, yeah, because we're so used to it. And we're all if you're in a toxic relationship, you're so used to the deprivation and pain that you don't know what it would feel like without it. So if it ain't broken, you break it or sabotage it. You walk through your whole life carrying dead carcasses and anger and bitterness from something somebody did to you as a child at 4 years old. And now all of these great blessings God's trying to bring in your life are having to pay because you never let go of it. And you are over here bitter Betty and Betty Crocker. You got to let go of it. You got to live your best life.
Yeah, that's, one of the scriptures whenever I walked through this process myself was Isaiah 43:18. Forget former things of the past. See that I'm
and press toward. Come on.
Don't you perceive it? And it was this whole download, and it was just like how the enemy wants to keep you looking in your rear view mirror.
And you can't perceive it.
You can't.
You're looking behind you.
You're looking back there instead of what's ahead. And that was such a big eye opener for me.
Yeah.
That instead of looking forward and keeping you distracted with the past.
Man.
It's so good. It's so good.
And how real is that? That the whole world right now, you've got more people walking around on Xanax and medicine to go to sleep and Xanax to get up. You're letting somebody that wasn't even worth even being in your life. That rejection was a release. That rejection was not necessarily someone wanting out of your life, but somebody God needed out of your future. He saw conversations they were having when you weren't around, and he saved your behind. And instead, we're over here needing medication to live again over somebody that was broken and didn't know how to love us appropriately. When God is standing there with his arms wide open saying, I'm about to blow your mind because I don't end in a deficit. If you will just let go and let God, you're going to watch me work a miracle in your life. You're going to have a bestseller. Everybody's got a story. Yours is going to be a bestseller.
And this is so powerful because I'm so passionate about people's stories, and and what happens is they stay stagnant.
Yeah.
Right? They stay, God calls us to be living water, streams of living water, right? And they want to stay in that dead pond, that dead pool, and not moving. To your point, living water moves, right?
Moves.
It moves. And you've got to stay moving. You got to keep putting one foot.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, so guys, just if I lose you, we have internet issues. So if I lose you, we're gonna we're gonna keep going here. So I love this. So okay, so now you're home. you're home with you with your kids. You know, what happens next? What transpires next?
Well, I had to go get a job at Belk, which is like a Kmart on crack. I have not worked. Now listen, I have not worked in 13 years. And here I am having to go get a whole job. I had to move back in with my mom and dad. I lost all my pride. Everything that Pastor Rod and everybody else ever told me was going to happen. I was the only one in the family that can't keep a man. I just can't. I don't know what that's all about. And I'm moving back in with my mother and my father. And I'm laying in bed one night and I realized that this is the way it rolls, Kim. Like, you're about to go work in free retail, like, because you were in special ed. The enemy was telling me all this stuff. You can't get a better job because you're in special ed. Nobody's going to hire you. And man, when I tell you, girl, I finally remember I hated people. Raised in United Pentecostal, raised in religion, just didn't like people. This guy cheated on me. This guy cheated on me. I just had this whole, I put everybody in one big bowl. And so I had to go work in retail. And I remember I had the day that I was going to work in cosmetics, I did not belong in cosmetics. For starters, I usually wear glasses because my eyebrows are never on fleek. I'm telling you, like, I do not know how to do makeup. I am just not gifted at it. And here I am, broken, divorced, unlovable. I feel like my self-esteem was this big. Moved back in with my mom and dad at 36. I'm probably 37 now because I finally pulled myself up out of the depression about 37 when my mother finally walks upstairs and says, "Get up. You're going to live. This is ridiculous. Get up and go get you a job. Your children need a mother." And I started pulling myself up and I go get this job. And I remember walking out there and I was thinking, I am going to get a permanent marker and make this lady's eyebrows all the way up to her hairline, because I just couldn't imagine for 45 minutes having to sit with someone's breath on my face. And I couldn't even imagine. And you know what? Within 45 minutes, it was like, I didn't know how to do makeup. So I just sat there and told this lady, I'll never forget her. Her name was Eleanor. And I remember sitting there the whole time I'm doing her makeup. And I'm like, girl, God was so bored the day he created you. He just made you perfect. You don't even need any foundation. You just need a little bit of bronzer. I mean, I was faking my way through this whole makeup session. And I started realizing as I was doing it, she doesn't know what she's doing, or else she wouldn't be sitting in this chair. So there's really nothing I can't really mess up because she don't know what she's doing. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I ended up in 45 minutes. I felt like a release, almost like, oh my gosh, this is what I was created to do. 45 minutes of telling this woman, you got this. I was listening to her story because she was talking to me and I was talking to her. She was telling me that she walked through this divorce and she went, and right whenever she walked through the divorce, she had to get both her boobs cut off from cancer. And man, she was all by herself in life. And all of a sudden I started feeling like, well, my life ain't so bad. You know, it was almost like God gifted me. He gifted me. He said, you know what, Kim, where I'm about to take you, you're going to need to love people because I'm about to trust you with the world. And so
this right here is so good. And I'll tell you why. Because sometimes we can get so lost in our own story that we
get stuck.
We're stuck until we start looking around and seeing that it could always be 1 degree worse. Right?
Always.
And whenever you start thinking about that, to your point to this lady right here, it started turning things around because you started being grateful that you had your mom and daddy's house to go to.
Thank you, God.
That loved you, that told you to get up out of bed, that your kids needed a mama. I mean, like, what if that wouldn't have happened?
Oh,
I mean, it's such a powerful thing to start looking around like, it could always be worse. No matter how bad you think it is, it could always be 1 degree worse.
Oh yeah.
One.
And it can. And that's the key, I think. This is why the enemy keeps us in depression after a heartbreak or a tragedy in our life, because he knows that if we get out there among the living and
Yeah.
we start opening our ears. All of our purposes are tied to somebody else.
Well, think about
All,
this. Think about this. What is it, the enemy just like getting that one sheep away from the shepherd, isolated, right?
oh
Away
yeah,
from the flock, away from
oh yeah.
everybody else, so he can what?
Oh
Kill
yeah.
and
And
destroy.
he can get in your mind, and
Yes,
he can begin to tell you that it ain't going to get any better. And you start thinking your situation's worse than anybody's on the planet. There's no recovery because you're hibernating in this house, eating ho-ho, scratching your behind, and being angry at somebody that wasn't even worth having you anyway. Right?
yes,
Girl, when I tell you that 145 minutes, when I tell you I went home, I'm telling you it shifted in 45 minutes. I literally, now my life didn't shift, but my thinking started shifting.
good.
And when I went home, I didn't go up to my bed and get in it and my kids not know who. They started seeing their mama changing. I started realizing I could have lost my boobs. I could have not had a mom and daddy to help me with my sons. I
Yes,
started realizing the greatness that came out of this storm. I started realizing that this storm was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me, because if this storm wouldn't happen, I would never have ended up at Belk. I told God I'd give him a year. I'm like, God, I'll give you a year. And then I'm going to go on eharmony.com, bigdaddy.com. I'm going to find me a man. I'm going to move out of my mom and daddy's house. And it ended up 5 years. I ended up moving from Belk to Bloomingdale's. I ended up becoming a whole cosmetic department manager in that time. Not really the manager, but the assistant. And I started learning to love people. I went from loving one person when he saw I could trust me with one lady. Then he said, I'm going to trust you with 6 ladies. I'm going to put you as counter manager at Belk. Then you're going to get a job at Bloomingdale's. You're going to have 20 women. Then I'm going to take you to 58 women. And so see what God does in these storms that you create. Because that's usually what we're mad at. We're mad at the storms we created. We're mad because we didn't listen. We're mad because we married somebody when God gave us the red flags that they weren't good for you and you did it anyway. Or you married them and they were one way and they changed. And now your expectations gone down the tubes, right? But you got to look at it this way. All of this never took God by surprise.
amen.
In your life today, whoever's watching this, where you are is no surprise to God. It may be to you, but it ain't to God. And I can guarantee you something. If you pull your big thigh up and begin to move out of this hell, if you are in hell right now, you are in the worst case scenario of your life. If you realize the greatest thing about going to hell is you come out on fire. Man, there ain't nothing like Free Life College to give you some passion. See, you can't, listen, I will never forget. I met Eleanor again, probably about a few years later. I ran into her again because she was still an avid makeup user. And that Eleanor came in and she said, do you remember? She said, I came into your store every Friday. And I remember Eleanor bought a freaking lip gloss because that's all I ever put on anybody was lip gloss because that's all I knew how to do. 45 minutes, I would love them back to life and they would buy a lip gloss. And I remember in that season, the lip glosses were flying off the counter and the executive for Estee Lauder were coming in and saying, what are you doing? We've never sold so many lip glosses ever. I'm thinking, if you only knew, that's all I know how to put on people. So that's all they're buying. And in that process, Eleanor came in and she said, Kim, she came back. I'll never forget. It was like 2 weeks after I did her makeup. She came back in and I said, Eleanor, you got to keep your lip gloss. I'm doing really good at this counter right now. And I need you to keep me on this flow. So I need you to keep, she goes, no, Kim. She goes, if you don't mind, she said, every Friday, I'm going to come sit back in your chair. And she said, I'm going to buy another lip gloss from you. And she said, because for the last 10 years, she said, 10 years ago, my marriage ended of 28 years. And he walked out with my best friend. And I've been stuck 10 years ago. I've gone to a therapist every week for 10 years and I can't get free. I can't. All I've done is gotten fat on these medications that numb my pain. She said, but when I sat in your chair 2 weeks ago, she said, something happened in 45 minutes in my life. And she said, I felt a shift and I felt my life was worth something again. And she said, something happened to me, girl. All of a sudden, can't nobody tell me nothing. I started realizing I got a purpose and it's loving people back to life.
Okay, this right here is so magic and such a life lesson, because here's the thing. Like, here, you saw something. It's the seed that you sowed. It's the seed that you planted. It's the seed that made a difference. And no matter, and so you saw the gift. But the reality is that we all have that gift.
Oh, yes.
We all have that gift. There is somebody sitting in your chair. Somebody's watching today. There's somebody sitting in a chair right now that needs a word from you, that needs a word of encouragement from you, waiting to change their life with just one word that's going to change the trajectory of their life. But you got to open up your mouth, right?
Period.
This is so beautiful. I love. This is so. I mean, this is so cool. I love this. I love this. Okay, so now you're seeing this like magic and gift.
Yeah.
And you're like, because it's like you've got one finger pointing out. It's like you're given a gift, but it's coming back to you threefold.
Yeah. I broke depression off in that season, girl. When I tell you depression ran in my family, and I was able to break that mess off of me, I started realizing that my purpose was connected to other people. And that's how come the enemy had been fighting me. And that's how come I kept making these piss poor judgments. And I realized that life is what you can either be handed this life, because I think that's what gets us the most, sis, is these expectations that we had for that marriage, or these expectations that we had for our life at 47 years old. And here we are staring at everything that we dreamed of as a little girl and none of it happening. And then now we're finding ourselves at this place, and we did not put this in our cards of life. And now, because we didn't put this in our dream board, and we're staring at this thing, we don't know how to navigate through the hell that we're being faced with. And that's what sticks. And we get stuck right there because we stop moving. And so in that season, listen, I got free from depression. I got this girl that if my house would have caught on fire, my kids would have let me burn up, because I was so mean. I was depressed. I was broken after this divorce. And all of a sudden, because I started loving on people in that chair, I started turning the storm I created into this. I didn't care if I stayed at Bloomingdale's for the rest of my life making $9 an hour. I was so fulfilled in loving people and seeing the joy of these people and hearing their stories. And I started getting so free, man. I'm gonna tell you something. I would drive all the way to work, because whenever I got transferred to Bloomingdale's, it was 1 hour one way and 1 hour coming home to Lenox Mall from my house. And I would use that one whole hour going to work. I wouldn't listen to Beyonce. I would turn on podcasts. I would turn on motivation. I would turn on preaching. I would turn on the Bible, reading to me in my ear. I got so saved, girl, and so transformed that if a mosquito would have bit me, it would have got saved. Like, there was no turning back for me, because nobody can tell you God ain't real when God brings you back from a divorce, or God brings you back from something. You don't, even if you walk in a divorce again down the road 10 years, it don't affect you like it did before. Why? Because you know that a circumstance in your life does not change the call of God on your life. Yes. You just know with everything on the inside of you that you have purpose and you have a destiny, and it's never too late for you to get up and take back everything the devil stole. And that's what I did, girl. I would walk through Bloomingdale's. I used to walk through with my head down and got that mean, hard look. I changed. I looked 20 years younger after I let go of that unforgiveness. I wasn't praying anymore for God to kill my ex with a train. I would sit in bed every night, kill him with a train. And God's like, I can't do anything with you as long as you're praying that I kill him with the train. Yeah. And I started just praying, God, help me to forgive. And before long, I wasn't praying for God to kill him with the train anymore. I was just praying that he get hurt. Baby steps, Yeah. And before I knew it, man, I was getting free. And here I am, man. I don't know how I got here, but I'm here.
Well, here's the thing. To your point, whenever we let go of all of that ugliness. It's like if you need a friend, you have to be a friend. If you
have to be a friend,
you have to give love, right? You've got to be what you need to somebody else, right? And that's such a great, through the healing process and just seeing, being able to sow the seed and watch God move, right? Because when it's like I see it, and whenever I think about a seed, it may leave your hand, but it never leaves your life.
No.
It may leave your mouth.
Yes.
But it never leaves your life.
Never leaves your life. Because we serve this incredible God that he ain't like people. You know, he doesn't sit you in the dunce corner. He's got spiritual amnesia, man. Like he's giving you the strength to get through this. He's giving you the strength to do hard things, right?
Yeah.
And when we really can grasp that if everybody else writes you off, God writes you on. He's up here saying, I qualify you. It don't matter. Get your behind off of the clearance rack. You let all these counterfeits put you on this clearance rack. God is saying, I put you on the couture rack for a purpose. Get your butt off of that clearance rack. Stop letting people treat you like a paper plate when I created you to be fine china. That's the God we serve. He's just waiting on you. He's just waiting on you. Get up.
Get up. I love that. So now you're here. So now so how did you get to like Bloomingdale's to this place now? Because this is a journey, girl.
It's a journey. And so 6 years ago, I was sitting on the side of the road, coming home from Bloomingdale's, and I drove this knockoff Bentley, which was a 300 Chrysler. It looked like a Bentley on the outside, but it was toe up on the inside and would stick me on the side of the road most days overheating. And I had just gotten so full of like Jesus. Like I was one of those, can't nobody, I just knew God got me. Like I just knew if God could change this ratchet, take this ratchet girl from the south side of heaven and put me into righteous like he has, he can do anything. And so one day I'm just sitting on the side of the road. It's Christmas. I'll never forget. It's November 2006. No. I'm 39 by now, 39 years old, 38 years old. And I had just worked my way up into Bloomingdale's, and I'm sitting on the side of the road one day, and my car started overheating. And I had started doing these videos in the car, about 2-minute videos, because I was in the car most days. And I would just sit in the car, and whatever I needed, I would do a video about it. And I'd be like, hello, awesome people. And it was almost like, this crazy woman. And I always wear big glasses. I usually always got big glasses on. And so I had these big glasses on. I was like, hello, awesome people. Well, I'm sitting on the side of the road, smoke coming out of my car. And the reason I did these videos is because it happened just about every day. And I had to wait for the car to stop overheating so I could put some antifreeze in it. So here I am one of these days, and the car's overheating, and I'm sitting on the side of the road. All these cars are passing me on 75. And I get this epiphany. I bet you that most people, if they were sitting on the side of their car, they would get out and beat the car right now. Stupid car. And instead I was like, but I'm thankful, God, because I see that you're probably saving me for something. There's a reason why I sit on the side of the road like I do. There's something you want. I always believe that God is in every situation, even the storms you create. So I'm sitting on the side of the road and the smoke's coming out, and I had this idea. Oh my gosh. God, you think of everything. You have given me my own smoke machine. The smoke is coming up out of the car. It is billowing out. And I'm thinking, I got my own smoke machine. I pull my phone out and I'm like, Broadway, here we come. And I did this video and I talked about, I said, you sitting on the side of the road, you feel like God's giving up on you. Oh, you ain't giving up. You gonna get up. Giving up is an option, but it ain't your option. Get your butt up and let's go. I mean, it was just something like 2 minutes. And I put it on YouTube and that thing went viral.
I love it.
And I'm talking rappers were sharing it because listen, here's the key. You might have done everything they said you did. But with Jesus on your side, listen, once you come to know him, all old things are passed away. You ain't got to live under karma no more, right?
Right.
He's saying people sleeping on you. And that's what they were doing. They were sleeping on me. People wasn't ready for this. All of a sudden, I was like, God, I hope they got their rest because here I come. Now, I never dreamed in a million years this video was going to go viral. I didn't really know that. I woke up one day, this video, I'd gone from 600 friends on Facebook to like 150,000 people subscribing to me. I'm like, what? I am being punked. What is going on? And all of a sudden, my Facebook is blowing up and everybody at Bloomingdale's is like, oh my God, your video is all over the internet. I'm like, I don't know Basically, what I was doing was I was telling people, protect your anointing. Where you're at right now is not where you're staying. You gonna stay there as long as you want to stay there. You're gonna get up and you're gonna beat hell out of the devil. You're gonna send him back to hell where he belongs. I mean, I was just on there just giving all kinds of stuff. And all of a sudden I started getting reached out. People were reaching out to me and they were like, can you come preach to my conference? I'm like, what? Do you know I've been divorced? Like, me come preach at your conference? They're like, yes, we had a dream about you. And then all of a sudden you show up in our news feed. And before long, I was getting all of these invites and I was getting to go out and preach. Thank God I listened to preaching every day going to work because it was like my Bible school. And before I knew it, I was like going full-time ministry. 40 years old, I got to leave Bloomingdale's. 42 years old, I wrote my first book, all because of a video. I would watch all these people like putting these notifications, because I started doing them every day after that. Even when I didn't want to do a video, I would still do a video. I was consistent. And listen.
Okay, so whoa, let's stop right here, because this is so good. There's so many nuggets in what you're saying here, because, first of all, I thought, like, whatever mess you have, God can make a message out of.
Period.
Right? Whatever test you're going through, there's
Period.
testimony on the other side, right? In such a way that it's a matter of how you were perceiving it.
Period.
And because we can look at it, you could have looked at life as happening to me or for me.
Period.
And here's the thing. I love what you're sharing here, because no matter what, no matter where you are, what lane of life you're in, or what business, or wherever you're working, or whatever you're doing right in this moment, every person has the capacity, if they're willing to be the best and willing to get out of the boat and do something with it and share the story. Share the story, even in the pain, even if you
do not care what nobody thinks about you.
Yes, that right there is where
that's the key.
That's the key. That's
because we care.
Exactly.
What our neighbors gonna think about us. We care. What our ex is gonna think about us. We care. We're over here saying life's just draining me, but you keep giving everybody the straw because you care.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
You got to stop. You got to get delivered. I got completely delivered from people. I am 100% all me all the time. You know why? I keep my heart right, sis. I keep this right here right. No matter what I'm going through. Even if I'm bitter. I've gone through a season this past a few seasons, man, where I could really be bitter. And I've had to take some statuses down. And I've had to listen. I have had to work on my heart, but here's the key. The key is to get through it and come out on fire.
Yeah.
That's the key. The key is, yes, you're here. Yes, it sucks. Yes, it hurts. No, it ain't fair. The pain may not be your fault, but the healing is your responsibility.
Yes, that's great. The pain is not your fault, but the healing is your responsibility.
Period.
It's like, what are you going to do with it? I've always talked about the hand you've been dealt, right? You got to play it out. You got to play it out. The cards you've been dealt, and it's not fair, and it may not be right, but how are you going to respond? And this is there's so many there's so many nuggets in all this. So what happens now? So now you're going speaking, leaving Bloomingdale's. Now you're on stage speaking. Like, whoa.
So listen to this. I remember when I first started going through this journey in 2006, and I wanted so bad. I have a clap back. I got a clap back. And I remember God telling me, you live so nobody believes what everybody's saying about you. And I'm going to vindicate you. And I remember at 40 years old, I went full-time ministry, and everybody in Bloomingdale's was like my biggest fans. Like man, when I tell you Bloomingdale's still supports me, because everybody saw me go from $9 an hour to now worldwide. I'm on platforms that nobody in my family's ever. I mean, these people that I would listen to preach in the car or invite me to preach in their platforms. And so I'm finding myself in this place where I'm blown away. And I still, every day of my life, I'm 47 years old. I still to this day, cannot believe I am here. I cannot believe that God trusts me. That's the key. God trusts me. He knew that I would never sell out. He knew that I would never prostitute my gift and my anointing to fit into rooms. He knew that I wasn't going to be starstruck or want to be in people's groups. He knew that I would stay with him, sold out to him. And so I find myself probably 6 years ago. God told me he was going to vindicate me if I live so nobody believes it, which meant I got to get myself right. My job was to work on me. My job was to go to counseling. My job was to go to a therapist, let her tell me all the things that I needed to change or to heal in my life. My job was to work on me, not anybody else.
Well, and that's all of our jobs to all work on us, because we never arrive, right?
No.
It's always the journey. We're always having to deal with something, and we never arrive in that process. So the focus is that we always have to be working on our mind, our mindset, our
period,
heart.
man. Get your mind. You gotta grow. If you ever get to a place where you don't feel like you're growing, you might as well die. You gotta get around people that are going somewhere. You can't be hanging around with people where you're the smartest one in the room. You gotta get around people that make you mad when they can tell you the truth. You gotta have truth tellers in your life. You gotta always know I'm growing. This is not where I'm staying. Sis, I remember all of a sudden my offices get an invite. And this is when I knew God was vindicating me, because it was Pastor Rod. And Pastor Rod said, I want to invite Kim, Real Talk Kim, to come to my conference, Dominion Camp Meeting, to speak. I was like, oh! I'm always thinking I'm being punked. Always. Like, things happen to me that I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. He said, I want you to come preach at my conference. And I was like, I was screaming. I was running. I was like, oh, because Dominion Camp Meeting was what we all lived for. We all lived for Dominion Camp Meeting. And I'll never forget July the 2nd. I'll never forget walking into that place as Real Talk Kim, this girl that just at 40 years old started preaching. I'm preaching at this conference with 8,000 preachers that can preach me under the freaking paint, under the bridge. Mm-hmm. All of them are going to college, whatever. And here I am walking down the same way that I used to watch Pastor Rod walk into church. And I'm walking that path, and here I am. And I heard God say, I told you, don't quit. Pick yourself up. All those nights you wanted to quit, you wanted to throw in the towel, and I threw that towel back at you, and I told you to wipe your sweat. You're almost there. He said, you had a choice. You could have given up, but you got back up again. He said, this is just the beginning. Wow. Girl, I cried. I'm walking down there.
I love this.
The vindication. And so I just want to tell anybody that is listening today, man, that it ain't over. You are just beginning. Your life might have sucked up until today, but God's got a purpose and a destiny and a plan for you that's going to blow your ever-loving mind. You're going to be pinching yourself every single day if you just get out of your way and you get into some rooms that make you uncomfortable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Such a word. I was thinking about whenever you were talking, how the scripture says how God uses the foolish things to confound the wise.
Yeah.
Because, he uses the imperfections in all of us to, that's why you have made such a connection with people, because you are real and truly authentic in the story, and
period, man.
And just lay it all out. And that's how God is using you, which is the way I believe that he wants to use all of us.
Yes.
We don't have to be a preacher. We don't have to be a pastor to be a light for someone else. I love that, because, and I thought that this was such a great time, because because you've been speaking, nightly and really talking about there, because there's so much fear, And there's so many things that people are like, it's because it's unknown. We're in uncharted territory. We're in a place that none of us have ever experienced in our life. What would you say? What would you say to, to the ladies watch, what would you say like right now? Like if you're in this place, like how would you address that? Because I know you've been talking about it, on your platform.
Every night.
Yeah. You've really been diving in, and let's speak to that.
I think that you have to look at, the big picture. You have to realize again that this is not taking God by surprise. God did not cause this, but God is going to use this. There will never be another time in history ever again. I don't believe ever again will you have a chance to reset like you're having right now. This is a time to not fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. You have to turn off the news. You have to stop watching anything that allows fear in your spirit. This is a great time for you to get in Sheworth Network in this group. And this is a great time for you to get in some places of people that you admire that can pull something out of you and see something in you. You are not staying here. No. This is a season, not a sentence. Nice. Your key is to be intentional. Be intentional. Keep your mind focused. Don't turn off the bumping Beyonce. Turn you on some things that feed your spirit. Yeah. Every night we've got Angel Fletcher. We've got all of these people that I'm seeing in this room with us right now. Whole bosses. This chick that's got me on her show. We are bosses. We are boss chicks. We can show you how to be feminine and conquer hell in high heels and take your life back. Right?
I love it.
This is the season for you to grow, reset. Don't waste it worrying. Worrying ain't going to do nothing but get your tail fat, eating the ho-hos and scared to death, yelling at your kids. I don't want to be no mom. I didn't go to school to be a teacher. Well, you're all right now. So guess what? Make it the best season full of memories. It ain't going to last forever, baby. Come out on the other side of who you're supposed to be.
That's so powerful. It's so powerful because, people use the fear face. I use the acronym. You can face everything and run.
Oh, I love that.
Or you can face everything and rise.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm gonna rise.
Yes, that's right.
I'm gonna rise.
It's right. I mean, I will tell you, like our church, and this is just a little side note, so people are like going, I'll tell you, like our church and our online church, we've been averaging, we go to Gateway Church here, in the Metroplex, and they average like 35,000, before this, like that was the attendance. The first week we had online church, there was 100. Oh yeah. And 10,000. Then it went to 195,000. Last week, now this was before Easter, the week before Easter, 300,000 people.
Oh yeah.
Online service. I mean,
there is a revival coming out of this.
There's big stuff happening. Like we may be isolated in what we're doing, but I'm telling you, there's amazing things happening and taking place. And, I wanted you to come on and like share this encouragement and share because we can be a part of something really, really spectacular and really an encouragement in people's lives and really speaking life into people that are home and isolated. We can really be that bridge and that connector piece. And just by sowing a seed, just exactly what you did to the Eleanor. I mean, there's Eleanors all over our life right this minute, and they could be a phone call, a text message away. That you could be that encourager, that edifier, that lifter of her head.
You little bitty person that feel like you ain't nothing could be a whole game changer for somebody.
That's right. Yes, that's right. That's right. Well, so you have your own church now.
Yes.
So let's share with everybody, like tell us about your church and tell us about like what you do.
So I usually, this is the longest I've ever been home since I went full-time ministry. I'm usually traveling 51 weeks out of the year. I am all over the place. God trusts me. I pastor Limitless Church right here in Fayetteville, Georgia. I'm a whole woman pastor.
Wow.
I mean, raised in this religion that said women couldn't even preach. And boom, shakalaka, like a boom, baby. And I have an incredible church. I have a great online church. I am Limitless Church right here in Fayetteville, Georgia. And man, we love people back to life. We're building families. I have just put out my book, just came out this week. This is my 4th book with my special ed self.
Okay,
And
let's talk about, okay, so let's put the book back up here and somebody can put that in how can the viewers here get a hold of your book? Where can they get it? How can they?
You can anywhere books are sold. I mean, my whole mug is in the airport. Okay. Like 6 years ago, I'm at Bloomingdale's and look what God's done. I'm still like pinching myself. But yeah, I'm at Barnes and Noble. You can get it at shuthellup.com. You can get it on my website at realtalkkim.com. I sign all those. Man, I'm just over here loving people.
And tell us, tell us what the essence of the book is. Obviously, I mean, it speaks volumes. Shut the hell up, like, right? I mean, that's pretty powerful. But tell us what the ladies would get out of this.
So, this book right here, I believe that the one place that's our enemy is in our minds. And so my whole life I battled with my mind. I believed what society said. I believed what social media said. All these people that were putting up their highlight reels, when in reality it was nothing like that. And here I am comparing myself to a whole bunch of fake. And so this book right here is telling you how it's important. You are the CEO of your life, and you are the only one. That counselor is great, but she can't make you get up and begin to take your life back. When you can learn to tell yourself, shut hell up, shut it down. Anything that comes in my mind that makes me want to go stalk somebody that is no longer in my life, it's got to leave my mind. Anything that is making me have a panic attack, an anxiety attack, and making me, oh my God. Some of y'all living in constant panic attack and anxiety attack every day because you're putting the wrong information in your mind. I teach you how to decree, how to declare, how to take back everything the devil stole, how to prophesy over your life, and how to take scenarios that's happened in your life and shift it around, allowing God to take your scars and turn them to stars, allowing your wounds to become wisdom, allowing the pain to be your pulpit. This book right here going to take you all the way from the back of the line to the front of the line, because if God can do it for me, he can do it for you. All he's waiting on you to move.
I love this. I love this, because this is so powerful, because the battlefield truly is in the mind. It truly is.
Period.
Everything starts with a thought. And if you can discern where that's coming from, I always trained my kids, God good, devil bad, right? It's pretty easy, right? But if you can get a hold of it, man, you're ahead of the game.
What?
Yes.
And I'm realizing the older I get, I can literally listen to myself shifting the dialogue in my mind.
Yes.
I'm flipping the script. I will literally watching how something that would normally take me out just takes me over, because I immediately, when it starts taking hold in my mind, I'm immediately ahead of that crazy mind, 6 inches between my ears. I'm the boss up here. When that worry and that stress committee starts meeting inside of my head every night about 12 o'clock, I say, sit down and shut up. Go back to where you belong. God is my peace. God is my source. So it's keeping this together.
So now you're speaking my language, because I learned this a long time ago. So my first mentor was Joyce Meyer.
Yeah.
And one of the first books that I read of hers was called Me and My Big Mouth. And I was attracted to it because I was like, my mouth is always getting me in trouble, right? So it was Me and My Big Mouth. The answer is right under your nose. And so that right there changed everything.
Period.
And understanding that you can't fight a thought with a thought, that you can only fight it with a spoken word. And that means speaking it out loud and taking that thought and getting rid of it. Like, that's
got to.
I love it. So, okay. So I'm excited. I can't wait to read this book. It's going to be amazing. So is that, so whenever you go through that, is that, share with the ladies, like, is that what you do? Like whenever those
yes.
flow. So what,
so I have found that, even the higher you go, the more mind games you have, because it's almost like that's the thing that the enemy does. I get up every morning, and I teach all my mentees this. I get up in the morning, I begin my day owning my day. I don't just get up, fall out of bed, scream and yell, I'm angry, no coffee, no talkie. If you ain't got no coffee and you can't talk until you get coffee, you need to fix your emotions, right? So you get up, you own your day, you set the course of your day. I'm constantly pouring into me. Battlefield of the Mind is one of my favorite books. It's like a Bible to me. I go back to that book because y'all, the new levels, new devils, baby. You got to know how to conquer these things as they go, or else you will find yourself back at the beginning repeating a test. So I'm constantly reading, constantly got a podcast in my ears.
Yeah.
Listening to podcasts, y'all. It's free counseling, free therapy. Go find Google great podcasts. The most amazing, the highest ranking podcasts for getting over a heartbreak. There's stuff out there at your beck and call. Google is a woman. She got all the answers. Google it. Man, I read the Word. I got the YouVersion app on my phone. I got the Kim Pothier app, the Real Talk Kim app, and I've got the Real Talk Kim app, and I've got the YouVersion app, and I'm reading it every day.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. You got to pour into you what you want to pour out of you.
That's so powerful, because of what you said is so true. I mean, like, most people think, oh, well, she's arrived. No, I mean, like what you said, new levels, new devils, it's like, a lot of times, and especially like in business, people think the more money you make, like you have no trouble. But really, the more money you make, the bigger your problems are, right?
Man. And then you still face, now you're just in the public. You still face heartbreaks. You still face stuff that you never saw coming. But now you just got the whole world watching.
Yeah.
And so you have to know in this place that when you start feeling like I can't do this, yeah, you can. You got this. Or else God wouldn't have gifted you with it.
Yeah.
Right? This is why you've got the kids after that divorce. Because mama, you can do it. Because you were created to do hard things. Well, I just need some help. You were created to do this. Stop looking at what you wish you had and be thankful that you are a whole beast, that you can carry a whole human being in your belly. You can create a whole life. You created a whole kid out of a place that nothing should come out of. You've got this, right? You've got this. Be your biggest cheerleader. Get some whole boss chicks in your life that can teach you balance, and realize that every time you go and think you can't cross that mountain, stop telling God how big your mountains are and tell your mountains how big your God is. You have what it takes. Woman of God, boss chick, warrior chick, you've got this.
I love this. This is so powerful. Like, ladies, I hope that you got some amazing value. Now, do you have your own podcast, right?
Yes, Real Talk Kim.
Okay, so ladies, I want to take this down. So Real Talk Kim, and you've got our book. So we'll put the book, up in the link so they can get your book. I would love to have it like part of the membership here. I would love that. So,
and it's really easy just to download my app, because my app, everything about me is connected on the app. My website, my itinerary, I got devotions on there. I've got declarations and decrees. Whenever you ain't got nothing to say, the Bible says that life and death are in the power of your words. So me and her sitting here for an hour telling you what to do is great, but until you activate it, you're gonna stay stuck. So I got decrees and declares and all kinds of things on this app. My book, my inner circle, everything's connected on that app. Real Talk Kim.
So you get the app, and what you're saying here, Kim, like I mean, like gosh, I could just keep talking because I just connect with you in so many different ways. But I mean, this piece right here is so powerful. Is like, because this is the armor of God. This is whenever you're going through the battle, you know, Ephesians 6 says to put on the armor of God.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is what comes out of your mouth, because whenever you use the word of God, it's wielding the sword in the spirit. You are in the battle. And whenever you use that word, angels hearken to the word of God. That word does not return to you void. It does not return void. And whenever you can find the word that resonates with your situation and that you can use that and fight your battle, I'm telling you, it is a total game changer.
Game changer.
It's whenever I know that whenever I'm walking around my house preaching and speaking God's word out loud, you know, it's faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word. I'm building up my spirit, but at the same time, I am decreeing a thing.
Come on, girl.
You know, it is so powerful. It has been such a life changer, game changer for me whenever somebody can get a hold of the word and just that pouring in, because what comes in is what comes out. And whenever you can align with what God says about you, your situation, I'm telling you, it is life. It is such life. And it is especially in this time and in this moment that we're in right now that I think God is really raising up for such a time as this. I don't believe that we're going through this I think there's a purpose for sure that we're going through this in a Passover season. You know, with God's timing is everything, and I think He's rising up His remnant. I believe there's a great awakening taking.
Me too, girl.
And so I hope I'm got chills over me, just like,
I feel it, girl.
I love it. And for those who would like to partake, like they can follow you on your Elevation or your Limited Church, because you
Limitless Church.
do communion every
day at
6 Eastern. So if you're interested and would love to partake in that, go to Limitless Church. They come on live and they talk.
And I share it on my pages.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just so happy and just such a blessing to have you here. It's just been amazing. I hope everybody's got some incredible value today. I know that I did. It's been such a blessing. And so is there any last words that you'd like to share with the ladies here?
Man, I'm just stoked for all of you, because I think that wisdom is priceless. I think this is a great time. I just kind of felt something drop in my spirit of declutter. This is a great time for you to declutter. Look around at your atmosphere, because your surroundings it tells you what's on the inside of you. You know, clean out your closets, like literally, because your closets look like your insides. So this is just a good time for you to begin to throw some stuff out. Go on and get rid of the anger, get rid of the bitterness, get rid of the baggage, get rid of the old clothes. Quit hanging on to the clothes that are 5 sizes too big, thinking you just might need them. Just get rid of the A, B, and C plan, right? And stick with one plan and go for it.
I love it. All right, ladies. Well, you have had an absolute earful. I hope you're inspired. I hope you're encouraged. I hope you're edified and built up today. You can go conquer. You know, go speak life into somebody. Go be a blessing to someone. Go look for somebody that you can be a blessing to. We're blessed to be a blessing, right?
Yes.
So
I do want to say something real quick on somebody out there that feels like it's too late. I just want to tell you, at 36 years old, I thought my life was over when I moved back in with my mom and dad. At 40 years old, I went full-time ministry. At 42, I wrote my first book. And at 46, I started my first podcast that's gone worldwide. And at 47, which I am today, I realized my life is just beginning. So it's never too late.
Amen.
You just need to move.
I love it. Awesome. Well, ladies, show some love. Show some hearts and love for Miss Kim. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys for having me.
Woo, woo, woo. love it. Awesome. Okay. Well, that's it for me. This is Taylor Thompson and Kim. We're live here in the She Network, sharing her excellence.
Love you, Taylor.
Love you too. Bye, ladies. Amazing.